Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conscious Souls, episode number 1. We are so grateful to have you here with us today. I am Patricia, and I'm a healing coach, and this is...
I'm Victoria, and I'm a soul activation coach. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone. I am here today to interview Victoria on what is a soul, because that is the whole theme of our YouTube channel, and would like to share with you the foundation of this idea and the foundation of this foundation. Before we go ahead, Victoria would like to share some words with us. So please go ahead, Victoria.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah, welcome everyone. Such a warm welcome to our YouTube channel. And I wanted to share something with you. The reason that we are calling ourselves conscious souls is because we think there is a big shift going on in this world, and it's time that consciousness is coming back to humankind, like we have air to breathe, because consciousness in the end is who we are. And we want to, as Patricia already said, we want to start with the theme of soul, because as you know, we are calling ourselves conscious souls. Consciousness, I believe, is pretty clear, but we can talk about this in another episode. But so we want to start talking about a soul, just to make sure that everyone is understanding what we mean when we are doing this podcast. What do we mean by bringing this consciousness back? So anyway, these were my few words of welcoming. I'm so glad that we're connecting with all of you. And I'm giving it over to you, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victoria. I think it was very important to share that with our audience, to kind of give them a solid introduction to what we're doing here. So thank you, Victoria.
You're welcome.
All right. Are you ready for the first question?
I am. As always.
All right. So my first question to you on this topic is, what is a soul?
And I think this is a great question to start with, Patricia. I believe that we are all, in a way, extensions of source energy, of light energy, of love's energy. Because source, for me, other people call it God, some call it Allah, some call it Yahweh, some call it Buddha. There's a lot of names for God or source, but for me, source really is the eight, because it includes the divine feminine and the sacred masculine. There is unconditional love, and there is protection, and there is divine action. And so it combines both attributes of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So a soul is who we truly are. It is, as I said, this divine essence that never dies. It is never created. It just changes form. And so I hope it makes sense. When the Christians said that we were all children of God, when Jesus said, I am a child of God, and he meant all humankind, we're all children of God. Basically, these are other words for we are extensions of something amazing, something beautiful that actually we all are. It is inherently who we are, because if for source everything is possible, then for us everything is possible. We are powerful, mighty beings of love and light, and we have chosen this physical body. We are going to get to this topic later, I guess. But so the soul is who we truly are. And to make it actually even more clear, a friend of mine once said, when you say, I am a human being and I have a soul, it is like saying that wings do have birds. Do you know what I mean? It's actually, birds do have wings, and we are a soul, and we have a physical body because we chose it to live here on this planet, to bring our light, our unity, our autonomous, authentic, quirky being to action here on this planet. Does that answer your question, my darling?
Yeah, so it's like the body we are right now is like a vehicle so we can experience this Earth planet, right?
Exactly.
Do you mind if I add something?
Oh, please, yes.
To what you just said? Because you mentioned Jesus, right? And I feel like nowadays society, they have, distorted the message from Jesus, which was, we are all God. But if we think like that, there's no way for this society to control us. So I believe that it started in a way to make us believe that we are just a little thing and God is really big and we need to worship God. But God is not within us. God is out there and it's really big. It's on a pedestal and we are so small. We have no powers. And so that's why I think Jesus and all these other beings that we've seen throughout the decades, they've all came here with the same message. And I would actually believe that they're all the same person. They're all the same entity. They just reincarnated multiple times to come say the same message. But we keep making a religion out of it.
I love your exploring on that. You know, actually, yes, I didn't want to go too much into this topic because the world has suffered because of this distortion. Actually, in many ancient traditions, they said, do not give pearls to a pig because the pig could make the pearls dirty. And I don't want to get more into that, but I feel like this is what happened with the truth of who we truly are here on earth. You know, and as you said, I mean, we are born worthy. We are born as love. Look at the baby when it's coming to earth and it's like, there's just this enormous, overwhelming joy. And babies have the power to heal entire disrupted families, you know. Suddenly, people that were far away, they're talking with each other again because babies are just pure love. And then we get conditioned. And then we get to become sinners, you know, because we're making dirty things. But there is no such thing as a dirty thing. Everything is divine as long as it is done with love, as long as the intention that it is done with is love. And this is what you said, my darling. I feel like there were mal-intentioned beings here on earth that took some of the wisdoms and turned them into something that made people feel powerless. Because as you say, when we are powerless, then that's when we're easy to control. We're in fear. But the truth of us is that we are love. As souls, we are pure love. We are pure light. We're pure joy. You know, when you're in joy, you're the closest to God, they always say, or the closest to source. So, yeah, absolutely, my dear.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for your answer to my question. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm okay if this is what makes sense to you. Otherwise, you go ahead. Keep asking me.
All right. Then my next question, which I am sure a lot of people wonder and a lot of people in our audience have questioned themselves this before, is where do souls come from?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question as well. It is, as I said, you know, souls come from, we are all particles of this eternal source that we call God or Yahweh or Allah or whatever. By the way, Allah in ancient traditions is actually meaning the breath. Allah, you know. So I heard that the other day and it was so inspiring to me. It is the breath. I mean, how powerful is that? So when you ask where do souls come from, we are coming from this infinite source of divine light and love. So we are equipped, we are particles, we are, let's say, like stars. You know, there's many stars. When you look into the universe and you see all these stars and you see the Milky Way and everything is glimmering and glittering at night, you know, I always imagine that there is this infinite source that is illuminating the stars, and the stars are actually parts of this infinite source. So we come from this infinite source, as I call it, of love and light, and where everything is possible. We are extensions of this source, or God, whatever you want to call it. And so this is our origin. This is basically, you can also call God consciousness. It is kind of like infinite consciousness. It is unlimited consciousness, and yet it is consciousness that is evolving with our consciousness evolving here on earth. Because as souls, we come to earth, we only change form through our physical incarnations and maybe clothing. But anyway, I mean, I know I have been a man in other past lifetimes. I know you have been a man in other past lifetimes, even though we're incarnated as women now. And so we all come here to make our experiences from this infinite kind of like love, light, consciousness that is divine, and where everything is possible, and where there's no limits to what can be done, and where love is the most powerful force. So, does it answer your question?
Yeah, I have a follow-up question on that.
Mm-hmm.
So, when our souls are not in our physical body, what shape or form do they take?
I see them as fireflies in a way. I see them as not fireflies in a way that you see them during the day, but they're sparks of light and consciousness. And I believe that we are omnipresent, like God or Source. We then are omnipresent. We are actually everything. We hear everything. We see everything. We are connected to and with everything. We can be everywhere at the same time. There's no more limits that bound us. Like, in a way, many of us perceive that this physical body is kind of limiting us here on earth because, when we want to, let's say that I'm in Europe right now. If I want to go to the US or to Hawaii, I have to take a plane. But when we are not incarnate in this physical body, we can just, imagine where we want to be, and we'll be right there because there are no more physical limits. There are no more linear timelines. There's just all these multiple dimensions that we are able to float through. Does that make sense? We can even also be consciousness on other galaxies. I believe that it's not necessarily, we're incarnated. Incarnated means, so to speak, we are in flesh. We have chosen a physical body that is of flesh and bones and blood and skin. And so when we're not incarnated, carne is the Latin word for meat. When we are not in a kind of like physical body, we're just consciousness floating everywhere. So we can be having purposes as consciousness in other galaxies or even here on Earth, like, for example, deceased beings, people that we love dearly that are no longer in this physical form, that have gone home already. We can still be in touch with them, and they are still very much here. They still very much see what's going on. They just no longer see the world through the filter that we also call the ego, but they're seeing everything through love again, because that's who they are. They're back in this consciousness of divine love and light, where there's just joy, there's just adoring of who they are, who we are. And yeah, does it make sense?
Yes. But then what you said about, as souls, when we're not incarnated, we can be omnipresent, we can be wherever we want. But is there a thing such as be able to experience our soul selves while we're still in this realm? You know what I mean? So be able to leave our body and be able to just be, or not even leaving our body. Please explore on that. Maybe we can do a whole episode on this another day. Maybe right now you can just give us a short explanation.
Yeah, you know what? I think that theme deserves a whole episode, because this is the reason ultimately why we are all here. And Buddha was showing it to us. Buddha was reaching the nirvana, and I believe many ascended masters, including Jesus and other beings that were walking this earth before us, they were able to reach this oneness with Source, oneness with God, in this physical incarnation. We do not have to go home, so to speak. We do not have to leave this physical body in order to experience who we truly are. And the way we experience who we truly are is through our hearts. There is no way that we can explain what is going on when we are feeling this oneness. It is just a feeling of unity, of being one with everything and everyone and every form of life that is, like plants, animals, trees, all forms of life, including crystals. Everything is sacred. It's just that most humans haven't really seen that yet, and this is why the earth is being so badly exploited by human beings. But it is absolutely possible, and it is possible through our hearts, That's actually what Rumi said. Can I cite a poem quickly
Please.
to your question that might answer it in a short way? Rumi said, I tried to find God and went on a journey. First, I went into Christian churches, but God was not there. Then I went into the Jewish synagogues, but I couldn't find God there. Then I went to mosques, but I didn't see a trace of God. I spoke to philosophers and scholars about what God is and what they know about it, but God was way beyond their explanations, their imaginations. And then one day, I went deep into my heart and I felt God. Actually, it's getting me goosebumps every time I cite this poem, because when we are in our hearts, when we come back home to who we truly are and our souls resides in our hearts, when we come home into our hearts and we experience this unity and this oneness, this is when we are God in physical form. Because when you are in this place, when you're in this state, Patricia, no bad deed can be done anymore to any form of life on earth. So we will just go back to love, to who we truly are. Love, light, consciousness of joy and unity and compassion. Compassion is a really big theme. It shall never be forgotten when we talk about God, because compassion is a very, very, I feel like it's time to bring it back through us.
And it also, when you're in your heart, not only good things happen to you, as in no bad things can happen, even the things that other people might consider bad. For example, to me today, I was just telling Victoria earlier that I had this peanut butter, and I'm staying in a house, as you can see, it's concrete. We're in the jungle's territory, the animals' territory. Anyways, I have this peanut butter, and I left it in the living room, and it's a closed place. I don't know how this happened, but it happened. A monkey came in, and he stole the peanut butter. We didn't know, because it happened during the night, and we only realized the next day when we were outside and we saw on the roof that there was a monkey. There was an empty peanut butter bottle that was broken, and a very, very satisfied monkey. And you know what? I just started to laugh. I just laughed so much, and I feel like it made my day. And from other people that maybe are not so connected to their heart, they might get annoyed. I'm like, I literally just bought this peanut butter 2 days ago. I used it 1 or 2 times. They could be, oh, damn it, like now I have to go buy it again. Like all this annoyance. And I was just so happy. I was honored that a monkey chose my peanut butter to go get, So I feel like it's not so much about not bad things happening, because bad things and good things, there's all a perspective. It's how you look at them that changes what they are. And this is the same experience. This is the same experience that if it happened to me, I see as an amazing thing. It has changed my day. I'm so happy. And someone else, it would ruin their day, or maybe even their week, So it's very much you change your own reality by being in your heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We always have the choice. This is another big thing when you say to your question, what is a soul? We are free will beings. We always have a choice about what to think. And this is why Jesus already said, or Buddha said, you are what you think. You are what you believe. So yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Then I'm going to move on to our next question, which
Go ahead.
is, what is the purpose of a soul? What is the purpose of reincarnating here on Earth or in any other planet and living this life, just so at the end of it coming back to our source? What is the purpose of all of that?
Expansion. See, this question I can answer with one word: expansion. The reason that we come here is to expand consciousness. It is to make experiences, to kind of like observe contrast, so to speak. Through the contrast, have desires, go after the desires, find a way to bring those desires into physical manifestations. Like we have cars today and airplanes and everything has been invented. This is all. And so by actually bringing ideas, dreams, desires into physical manifestation, we're expanding, because we need to find ways. And we are finding ways by letting go of any kind of emotional resistance, like, oh no, I can't, or I'm powerless, or, when you're keeping repeating to yourself all these things that we kind of learned when we were little, or what societies wants to teach us, that we have no power over, blah, blah, blah. You have power over yourself. You are the only being that has power over yourself. You can choose whatever you want to do. And as you said, Patricia, every belief, everything we see is a matter of perception. Everything is a perception. This is why in ancient traditions, we often talked about we need to cleanse our hearts and our eyes so that then the world can become a mirror. And we are seeing the world as the mirror through which we see ourselves. And we see, oh, okay, this is something I could expand. This is a way for me to be happier. This is a way for me to be more joyful. Provided, of course, that you remember who you truly are and that you remember that it is your birthright to feel deserving. It is your birthright to be happy. It is your birthright to be joyful, to feel connection, to have laughter and to share. Why are people so happy when it comes to Christmas or birthdays? Because they're allowed to celebrate, right? It's like society gives us permission to celebrate. Well, we are here to celebrate. If we remember who we truly are, then life just becomes a continuous celebration of love. Like you just said with this beautiful peanut butter monkey story, I mean, this is a reason to celebrate because you shared something with a wild animal. How beautiful is that? You're creating connection between your form, your sacred form of life and the sacred form of life of the jungle or a monkey, whatever, The short answer to your question is expansion. We are coming here to expand consciousness.
Expand this consciousness within ourselves and around us, right? Because if we do it for within, we do it externally as well.
Exactly. I mean, everything that you're doing for yourself, it's like everything you're doing to yourself. Imagine a water drop falling into a lake and then it creates the ripple effect, right? It is traveling. The information is traveling. So everything, when you expand your consciousness, your expanded consciousness goes into the collective consciousness. And then it goes into the Akash. And in the end, it serves all human beings because every idea that has been thought by anybody is out there in the collective consciousness. And so it can touch every single one who is open to receive it. I think for airplanes, wasn't it the Wright brothers who invented the airplanes? And at the same time, there were also people who invented it. It's just that the Americans, I think, got the credit because they were a little bit earlier and maybe more determined to make this idea work. But so whatever has been thought once is there. It is out there. We are living in a quantum field, in a soup of love, so to speak. Everything about us and around us is particles of energy. Albert Einstein, this was his life, basically. He lived to explain this kind of energy, this kind of, what's going on? What is around us? What is this informational field that surrounds us? And we are 70% water, and water is a conductor. So when we are in water, we are thinking beings. Whatever we feel or we think, it's going into the water that we are in. And so it's filling the universe with the same consciousness. So basically, consciousness is ever present and it's ever expanding through each and every one of us.
Thank you, Victoria.
Mm-hmm.
I have one last question that I feel like a lot of people wonder, and I've wondered it myself. And I feel like perhaps, throughout this whole conversation, you have answered it already, but perhaps we should focus on it a little bit more. And the question is, why do we as a soul and consciousness choose the conditions that we choose to incarnate in? Why do we choose to incarnate in a body whose country is in war versus in a body whose country is a first world developing country? So why do we choose what we choose, basically?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for bringing this up, Patricia. Okay, so first of all, I need to say that judgment only exists here on Earth in this physical world. There is no judgment, there is no biasing, no stereotypes when we are in consciousness. in divine consciousness. So as souls, every soul chooses what kind of experiences she or he or it, I'm going to say it because it's, it can be he or she. So I'm going to say it for the purpose of explaining it better. So there is no judgment when we are not led in this physical body. We look at our lives, we look at what experiences we would like to make, and then we choose to incarnate in this country, in this family, with these people, with these surroundings, in order to expand on certain things that we haven't yet integrated when it came to our own particular consciousness. So in a way, for a soul, there is no difference between incarnating in a war area or in a peaceful area, or there is no difference between incarnating in a poor or in a rich family, because every soul comes with an intention to expand consciousness around a certain subject. And so then when you expose yourself and you incarnate in these specific circumstances that are equally seen from the eyes of source, you then launch rockets of desire, as we say, so beautiful. You see contrast, you observe contrast, you realize, no, that's not what I want. How can I bring peace into this area through my own being? And then you start being active and pursuing your dream. Or, for somebody who incarnated in a peaceful place, maybe they see, okay, how can I bring my own genius, God essence to Earth in order, for example, to create solar energy, to create energy from sustainable sources, and instead of fossil sources that exploiting the Earth. So every single soul has, or actually comes with, intentions to expand consciousness, and so it chooses the circumstances in order to do its divine work where it is needed. There's no kind of hierarchy, like a soul, for example, that incarnates in a war area or in a very poor family is lower from the status than a soul that incarnates in a peaceful, where everything is given to them, There is no such thing as a hierarchy. It's just the soul that chooses to evolve, and it is evolving and evolving and evolving. And that's the reason that we come back to Earth, because that was one of my questions to quickly bring this in. Maybe it helps. I was always asking myself, why did I come back to this Earth? What am I doing here? Well, I came here to actually bring my own ideas, my own consciousness, my own love, my own way of being, to enlighten this Earth, to leave traces of love and unity and connection wherever I walk, to leave more consciousness about certain subjects. So yeah, there is no hierarchy in a way. Every soul is precious, and basically we come here to bring our own divinity, our own ideas, our own self, to make a better world, to create a better world, to bring more consciousness, to bring more unity, more connection in between people, to build bridges, for example, between people or between life forms. I'm part of my purpose here on Earth is to build a bridge between humankind and nature, because nature here where I am is looked at like a decoration. Like you have a dog, it's just a decoration. It's like an accessoire. But nature is a powerful living being. She is the mother that nourished my mother while my mother nourished me. She is our mother. We cannot just treat the earth like she would be a decoration, and cut trees and trim the trees the way we want them to be without even communicating with them, because everything is a sacred form of life. So anyway, I hope that answers your question.
From what I picked up from your answer is that there's two reasons then why we come. One is because we want to experience something we haven't experienced before and we want to expand. And the other one is because we want to make an impact. We want to help. We want to, bring a part of God, a part of us into Earth and make it a better place.
Yes. So basically, and you can combine these two into one, because the way we bring change and the most of possible impact is through leaving physical traces on planets that then thanks to our presence here, can become a better place. Like Buddha, for example, was teaching the nirvana. Ever since he taught that, he said to humankind, it's possible if you follow the practice of stillness and meditation. Stillness basically brings us back to our own soul. This is why stillness is so important. So we, the reason that we come back here is because the earth really is a wild place. There is no more delightful expression or action of our power than physical action, than bringing ideas into physical manifestation. So this is why we all choose to come here. And so this is what combines, hopefully, one with the other purpose, the other reasons that you just mentioned of why we are coming here.
Thank you so much, Victoria, for this amazing episode we had today. Our first episode of many. If there's nothing else you'd like to add, I would like to wrap it up.
I would just like to say to every single one of us that is listening here today, remember that you are a sacred being. So do not measure your value on how much you're being loved by humans around you. Measure your love by your own breath. Look at the beauty of your body. Look at the miracle of this physical body that you created through your consciousness. And remember that you're deserving of all your dreams. Remember that you are worthy of everything you want to have. And remember that the purpose of you being here is to be joyful and happy.
Choose joy and love every day, and you'll be just fine.
Perfect ending. Choose joy and love every day. Live more, love more, be joyful more, and come home to who you truly are. That beautiful soul.
Thank you, everyone, for today, and we'll see you next time.
I'm looking forward. I can't wait. Bye.